This week we're doing Parshas Pinchas, and let's begin with a beautiful idea from Rav Moshe Feinstein at the beginning of the Parsha. The Torah tells us that by Daber Hashem al Moshe Lemor, the Parsha begins, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, Heshiv es Chamasi me'al bnei Yisrael. Pinchas, the son of Elazar, the son of Aaron HaKohen, Heshiv es Chamasi, turned back my wrath from among the children of Israel, Bekano es kinasi, when he zealously avenged my vengeance, besocham among them. Bekano es kinasi, when he, according to Art Scroll, zealously avenged my vengeance among them. V'lo chilisi es b'nei Yisrael bekinasi, and therefore, says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I did not consume the children of Israel in my vengeance. Rashi says, Bekano es kinasi, when he zealously avenged my vengeance. Rashi explains, Benokmo es nikmasi, when he avenged that which he had to be avenged for me. Bekatzvo es haketzef, when he expressed the rage shahaya leliktzov, with which I should have been enraged. In other words, Bekano es kinasi, which again we translated as when he zealously avenged my vengeance, implies that Pinchas felt what HaKadosh Baruch Hu felt, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have taken revenge against Zimri, but Pinchas did it in his place. Says Rav Moshe Feinstein, very interesting thought here. In the Drash Moshe, Bekano es kinasi, we begin at line 1. Perish Rashi, as we've just explained, Bekano es kinasi, bekatzvo es haketzef shahayali liktzov, when he expressed the rage with which I should have been enraged. Chazinan, we see from here, says Rav Moshe, shezeu ikar hadavar, shehisig avuro schar gadol kazeh. This was the main idea, that he was able to achieve this great schar, ubris shalom, and he was awarded the permanent bris shalom, the covenant of peace. Mishum, why? She'asa davar shahaya ha'kadosh baruch hu lasos. He did something that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu should have done. He did something in the place of the Ribono Shalom, to which Rav Moshe points out, the Yesh la Melaf Mizeh, we have to learn from here, al mitzvahs acheros ki agavna, on other mitzvos in a similar idea, similar context. Shegam kain yesh lios aleim matan schar kazeh. There would be similar reward in a similar idea. What does he mean? Let's take a look, he says, at the mitzvah of tzedakah, as the Gemara in Bava Basra, beginning of Maseches Bava Basra, in the Perek Bashutfin, Daf Yudam and Aleph. There's a famous Gemara, where the Gemara there says, Charles Turnus Rufus, the Roman Emperor Turnus Rufus, asked Rabbi Akiva, Im Hashem ohev aniyim, lameina mafarsam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves the aniyim, and there are so many aniyim, and he tells us that we should give tzedakah. So in fact, why doesn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself take care of the aniyim and give them? Ve'eshiv Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva answered famously, Sheniska anu bahem linatza medina shegehenim. By us providing the aniyim, but by us giving tzedakah, by us doing chesed, that is how we, those that do give tzedakah, merit their place in Olam Haba, and they're not punished with the judgment of Gehenna. And but if you think about it, says Rav Moshe, now we're on line 10. In actuality, HaKadosh Baruch Hu should and has the ability to take care of them. Kadosh Baruch Hu is no saying lechem l'chol basar. He is the one who gives parnasa to everyone. So he should be able, and in effect, should take care of all the aniyim. However, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who has the ability to provide for everyone, including the Aniyim. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in his infinite wisdom, let us take care of the Aniyim. There are Aniyim in the world, and we, those who are not Aniyim, have the responsibility and the ability to do what Hashem could do. That is, to provide for the Aniyim. And that is not just fulfilling a mitzvah, but we are doing something in the place of the Ribono Shel Olam. Kadosh Baruch Hu should do it. No saying lechem l'chol basar, as we'll see in a minute. But we are doing something in the place of the Ribono Shel Olam, as Pinchas did, and therefore we have great schar for that. Even though it's clear that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who provides for everyone, he gives sustenance, bread to everyone, he wants us to do it. The dummy, and here's a comparison, says Rav Moshe, with a child who wants to help his mother carry the packages home from the grocery store, right? So the mother has the packages, the boxes, a whole bunch of bags, and the son, the little baby, says, "Oh, can I help you, Mom?" And so what does the mother do? She gives him, a little package, a little box to hold. That's not a big deal that the kid is carrying a little box, a little something of the entire order. It wouldn't be difficult. She's carrying a big box, a big order anyway. So one little thing doesn't make a difference. But she gives it to the kid to take. But the kid wants to help. The child wants to help. And therefore, the mother gives the child the ability to help, even though it's not a big deal. Nevertheless, it shows the love that the child has for his mother, that the child wants to make it easier on the mother. He wants to do what the mother is doing. He wants to assist the mother in trying to carry this and make the burden much lighter. And that makes the mother very happy, gives her joy that the child is helping her do the major task. Similarly, mitzvahs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one to do it, but he gets hana when we help him, assist him in doing the mitzvahs as well. Mitzvah tzedakah, he gam kein bazeh. And that is the idea of the mitzvah tzedakah in this idea. And then he says, interestingly enough, v'cheni mitzvahs mila, shematzinu shamru chazal al zeh, shemaisa adam adif. The Medrash tells us when it comes to bris milah that Chazal tell us in the Medrash Tanchuma that the actions of a person are great. What is this? Hainu, shavadai hu shekenu yitzarach adam lilol moho. Gemara, the Medrash there says, similarly, there's a conversation between Turnus Rufus and Rabbi Akiva, and he says, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted man to do bris milah, so he should have created him already gemalt, already circumcised. And Rabbi Akiva says, no, he wants us to do the Maisa mitzvah. Aval Hashem Yisbarach Rotza Shanachnu Nasev and Nigmar Masav. He wants us to complete the creation. He wants us to do the Maisa, to finish it up. Yes, we all could have been born already gemalt. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be a shutaf, wants us to assist him, wants us to help him in completing the mitzvahs and completing creation and completing Ma'aseh Bereshis. Hashem Yisbarach Rotza Shanachnu Nasev and Nigmar Masav. The Heragam came b'minyan ma'achal shadam tzarich l'taken, and he showed it also when it comes to foods. Right? We could have go out in the field and get a ready-made challah already bread. But no, we have to take the wheat and we have to grind it and we have to make it into flour, and then we have to knead it, then we have to bake it. There's a whole process. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to complete what he already created. Even though we know that the idea of completing food was only as a result of the Chet of Gan Eden, because in Gan Eden everything was already prepared for Adam. That's what Rav Moshe points out here on line 28. Line 27. The Chet Eitz Hadas, even though the inference is that we have to prepare all the foods because of the Chet of the Eitz Hadas. Maybe Rabbi Akiva Mashal. Rabbi Akiva, if you look in the Medrash, he talks about it. Mishum Shashem Yisbarach Manish Gamkein Bechaviva Shenasu B'Davar Shelo Yikvel Lefanav Ha'onesh Kol Kach. He explains it over there. We don't have enough time to go into it, but that's the idea. B'chazina Mizeh Sha'af Shekol Min Adam Lo Hizaru Lamul Rak Yisrael Avad. Interestingly enough, that the only people here on earth that have the mitzvah to do circumcision, to do bris milah, are Klal Yisrael. Shekol min Adam, the entire human race, lo huzaru lamul rak Yisrael avad, only Klal Yisrael themselves. Mikol makom, nevertheless, kevan sheritzono she Yisrael yunimulim. Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be gemalt, wants Jews to be circumcised, so he should have created us in a way that we're different physically than everyone else. No, he wants us to complete the creation, that we become different than everybody else. That's what we do with the Maisa Mila. We are now completing the creation by making us different than everybody else. As we learn from Pinchas. Beautiful idea. V'nicha, and it's even more interesting, says Rav Moshe in conclusion, the hanikra chosem bris kodesh hu eved l'Hashem. The bris is the seal, the covenant, the seal that we are the servants of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who is the one who usually creates the seal? Who's the one who makes the signet ring, so to speak, the seal? It's usually the boss, the master, the person in charge. But we who complete the bris, we're the ones who do the Maisa Mitzvah. Hari Asa Maisa Hashem Yisbarach. We are doing what Hashem did. We are completing what Hashem wanted to do, doing Hashem's avoda, and that is why we get so much schar, because we do like Pinchas. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to take revenge, and Pinchas did it, and that's why he got the great schar. So we do what Hashem normally could do or should do, but we do it in his place, and that's why we get rewarded as well. That's how Rav Moshe understands the idea of the beginning of the parsha of Bekatzpo es haketzev shehayoli liktzof, that in the rage he expressed the rage of which I should have been enraged. Okay, moving on in the parsha, after the story at the beginning of the parsha with Pinchas, the Torah goes on to have the census of the Jewish people, and when we get to Shevet Levi towards the end of the sentence, the Torah tells us about the families of Levi, and the Torah says, V'shem Eshes Amram, and the name of Amram's wife was Yocheved, Bas Levi. Amram's wife was Yocheved, the daughter of Levi, Al Sher Yolda Osola Levi b'Mitzrayim, whom she bore to Levi in Egypt. Vatelu la'Amram as Aaron, as Moshe, as Miriam achosam, and she gave birth to Amram. She gave birth for Amram, Aaron, Moshe, and their sister Miriam. So there's a word here in the pasuk that is interesting. The pasuk says, "V'shem Eshes Amram Yocheved Bas Levi Al Sher Yolda Osola Levi." She, which in English means that the daughter of Levi, whom she bore to Levi in Egypt. Rashi says, Al Sher Yolda Osola Levi b'Mitzrayim, who she bore to Levi in Egypt. Rashi says, Isha Ishto Yoladata, his wife gave birth to her b'Mitzrayim. In other words, the word Osa, she, refers to Levi's wife. Okay, refers to Levi's wife. She gave birth to Yocheved. Okay, and that's what the word Osa means. It's an interesting shot from the Ksava Kabbalah, Rav Yaakov Tzvi Mecklenburg. He says, first he quotes the Eben Ezra. We're up here at the top of the page. Asher Yolda Osa. So the Eben Ezra says, Lo hiskir shem Yoladasa derech kitzara. The Eben Ezra says, we don't know the name of Yocheved's mother, of Levi's wife. The Torah doesn't mention her name because the Torah, derech kitzara, always likes to do things in an abridged and as short a fashion as possible. V'chein Rashi Hosef Ishto Yoladatan also says that his wife gave birth to her. Levi's wife gave birth to her. Velule, says the Ksava Kabbalah, Velule Shira Isi B'Sefer HaYashar, Sheshem Eshes Levi Haya Adina Bas Yaakov Bas Yotan Ben Eger. He says, I saw in the Sefer HaYashar, in Parshas Vayeshev, that the name of Levi's wife was Adina. I think that is a error. It shouldn't say Bas Yaakov. Those words should come out and it should say Bas Yoktan Ben Aver. Aver, who was the son of Shem, who had a son Yoktan, and it should say, I'm sorry, not Yaakov, but it should say Yovav. So Adina was the daughter of Yovav, not Yaakov. That's a typo. It should be Ben Yovav, Ben Yoktan, Ben Aver. And if you look in Sefer Breshis, you don't see the name Adina, but you see Yovav was the son of Yoktan, who was the son of Aver. So according to the Sefer HaYashar, that Levi's wife's name was Adina. So Hayisi Omer Sheina Mikra Katzer. He said, I happened to see in that Sefer that Levi's wife's name was Adina. But he said, if I didn't see that, I would say that the pasuk makes sense. No, that was her name. Look at the pasuk again. We have a chumash. It's pasuk Perek Chavav, pasuk Nun Tes 59. B'shem Eshes Amram Yocheved Bas Levi Asher Yolda Osa LeLevi b'Mitzrayim. That Osa, that's her name. Her name was Osa to Levi in Mitzrayim. That is what the Ksava Kabbalah says. Interesting. I don't know if he doesn't mention it, but the Dazakeni Mibalei Tosfos also says that her name was Osa. And then the Ksava Kabbalah says, don't think that's so strange because we have a name that sounds like it or similar to that in Divrei Yamim, Shem Osi, and Divrei Yamim and in Ezra. The and if you say, okay, so we see this Sefer HaYashar says that her name was Adina, and I'm telling you that maybe the name was Osa, so we could even say that he had two wives, which is not beyond the realm of possibility in the time of the Avos. Shema Achas Adina v'Shema Sheni's Osa, and Osa was the mother of Yocheved. Oh, Shenishtana Shem Adina b'Shem Osa. It could be that he only had one wife. And Adina was known as Adina originally, but then her name was changed to Osa. The Min Asa Boker. And it's, why did he change the name to Asa? Because Asa is like Asa Boker. It's coming. Lashon Kanisa Ubia, coming in, entering. The Nikres Al Shem HaMa'ora Sheyal Asa B'tchilas Kanisa Bila Mitzrayim. And it's to recall that she gave birth to Yocheved as they were entering into the walls of the boundaries of Mitzrayim. As you know, as Rashi points out here, that she was conceived in Eretz Yisrael, but she was born as they entered. Levi's wife gave birth to her as they entered into Egypt, as the 70 came down, back in Sefer Bereshis. And that's why, says the Ksava Kabbalah, interestingly enough, that they changed her name to Osa because of that. And then he says, Ve'ein tana mimapik. You might think that because there's a mapik, which makes it a Osa, it is him specifically, which is what we would think. He says that is not necessarily true, because we find that in certain places where there is a mapik, there's a dagesh and a hey in many tevos, and it's rakla tif'eres hakriya, to make the reading more beautiful and more glorious. Okay, so that's what he says. I thought that was an interesting, that Asher Yolda Osa, that Osa was her name according to the Ksava Kabbalah and according to the Dasikanim. And the Sefer Yashar says that Levi's wife, Yocheved's mother's name was Adina. Okay, immediately after the census in Parshas Pinchas, we have the story of the Benos Tzalafchad, the daughters of Chalafchad, who come to ask Moshe Rabbeinu that they should be included in a portion. Their father died and they have no brothers. We'll talk about that another time. And after that, Moshe Rabbeinu wants a successor appointed, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give him Yoshua. But the Torah tells us, Vayidaber Moshe el Hashem lemor, interesting pasuk, the only place in the Torah where it says this, Vayidaber Moshe el Hashem lemor, and Hashem said, Moshe said to Hashem, saying, Yifkod Hashem Elokei Haruchos L'chol Basar, may Hashem, the God of spirits, which also is worth a discussion why that phrase was used, but that's not for now. Yifkod Hashem Elokei Haruchos, the spirit of all flesh, Ish al ha'eda, a man over the congregation, Asher yetze lifneihem, v'asher yavo lifneihem, v'asher yotzihem, v'asher yivihem, v'lo yeh adas Hashem katzon asher ein lahem roeh. So Moshe Rabbeinu asks for someone who will go out before them, who will come in before them, who will take them out, and who shall bring them in, and in the assembly, and let the assembly of Hashem not be like sheep that have no shepherd. That's the metaphor that Moshe Rabbeinu uses, katzon asher ein lahem roeh, like a sheep that have no shepherd. The Ksav Sofer says very, very beautifully. He says, Yifkod Hashem Elokei Haruchos Ish Alo Eda, Hashem should appoint someone on the congregation, on the assembly, nearly Shakol Roetzon. When it comes to a shepherd, Kol Masha Meitiv Im Hatzon Ein Kavanasol Tovas Hatzon. Whatever he's doing for the sheep is not for the benefit of the sheep. I mean, indirectly it is, but that's not what he's doing. Ki im laharbos hon over rechusha. He's interested in making more money. The sheep is his inventory. The sheep is how he's making his money. So he wants to make sure he takes care of the sheep, not because he cares about the sheep, but he cares about making more money. Nimtza ein haroa lahatzon ela la'atzmo la'anoso. He's not the shepherd because he really is concerned about the sheep. He's concerned about his own bank account and his own portfolio and building up his business. And if, God forbid, something dangerous occurs while he's shepherding his sheep, he's leaving. He's out of there. He's not going to be standing by and protecting the sheep. He's gone. Whatever he could do to save himself, that's what's more important. But the shepherd of the Jewish people is not like that. A Jewish shepherd is interested in the benefit of the sheep. L'tovas Hatzon Kodshim Am Hashem, the holy nation of Israel. V'lo yires atzmo elas atzon, v'yetzer lifneim v'yavo lifneim, v'gam ba'esa sakana yamar haroa barosh hacholotz, v'yetzer lifneim. V'lo kain haroa etzon hu holech achoranis, and the shepherd is not going to be the one who's going to go in the back. She'im ba yavo hashoded l'fnei atzon, if he's going to come, if the robbers, if the bandits are going to come in front of the sheep, he's going to go after the sheep. So what the Ksava Kabbalah is basically saying is the phrase, the sheep that do not have a shepherd, is a very interesting idea. Moshe didn't mean that he feared that Hashem would leave the people with no leader at all. The concept that he's emphasizing here is Ein Lahem Ro'eh. Ein Lahem. Ein Lahem. Moshe wanted a leader who should not be primarily concerned with himself. His care and the concerns of the person that will lead the Jewish people should always be for them. Asher ein lahem ro'eh. Unlike other leaders and kings and people who are presidents, etc., throughout the centuries, who once they are in power concentrate on their own personal benefits and fortune. And that's what Moshe Rabbeinu is saying. Lo chen haro etzon hahulei achorones she'im ba yavo hashodim lifnei atzon yimalei macharei. If they're coming in the front, he's going to go in the back. Baroa Yisrael, but the shepherd of the Jewish people who's going to be responsible for the Jews, Yelech v'yavo lifneihem daika. He's going in front. He's concerned with leading the Jews, being the leader of the Jews, and he's concerned with what's important, them, not, he's concerned with the sheep. He's concerned with them. He's not only concerned with himself. V'lo yadas Yisrael katzon asher ein lahem ro'eh. And the Jewish people shouldn't be like sheep that don't have lahem, that don't have a shepherd. No, this shepherd is concerned with the sheep. He's concerned with taking care of his flock. He's there. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu used that metaphor of ein lahem ro'eh. They're not interested in the sheep. They're only interested in themselves. That's not the request that Moshe had, who should be the leader of the Jewish people. In the Chumash Mesoras Harav, Rav Soloveitchik has an absolutely phenomenal piece on the pasuk of Vayismoch es Yodav Alav. As you know, after Moshe Rabbeinu made this request, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Kachas Yoshua ben Nun, I want you to take Yoshua ben Nun, and V'samachtas Yadcha Alav, and you should lean your hand upon him. Okay, you should lean your hand upon him. Samachta es Yadcha Alav, you should put your hand on him. And if you look later on, the Torah says, Vayismoch es Yadav Alav. He leaned his hands upon him. So the message from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the tzivit from HaKadosh Baruch Hu was one hand, and in actuality, Moshe Rabbeinu put two hands on him when he gave him what we call smicha, that he leaned on him. Listen to what Reb Soloveitchik writes. He laid his hands upon him. God commanded Moses to lay one hand upon Yoshua, yet Moshe laid both hands upon him. God commanded Moshe not only to do smicha, but to bestow some of his majesty, hod, upon him, in Pasuk 20. This majesty was figuratively imparted via Moshe's second hand. There were two Mesoros that Moshe transferred to Yoshua. One is the tradition of Torah learning, of Lumdus. The second Mesorah, the hod, was experiential. One can know the entire Masechah Shabbos and still not know what Shabbos is. To truly know what Shabbos is, one has to spend time in a Yiddish home. Even in those neighborhoods made up predominantly of religious Jews, today one can no longer talk of the sanctity of Shabbos. True, there are Jews in America who observe Shabbos, but there are no Erev Shabbos Jews who go out to greet Shabbos with beating hearts and pulsating souls. There are many who observe the precepts with their hands, with their feet, and with their mouths, but there are few indeed who truly know the meaning of the service of the heart. The Rav continues, I was raised in a Chabad town. The population of that town consisted almost exclusively of poor people, workers, tradesmen, particularly peddlers, who used to travel to visit the villages within a 15-mile radius of the town. You cannot imagine the primitive conditions in which the Russian peasants lived. The people used to come home early every Friday afternoon after spending the week in those primitive villages. I watched them coming into shul one by one, water glistening from their payas and beards because they had immersed in the mikveh. I still remember the tune with which they started to recite immediately upon entering the shul, the 107th Psalm. Give thanks to the Lord because he is good. Hodul Hashem ki tov, ki liolam chasdo. Those redeemed by the Lord shall say it. They sang a hymn of gratitude to God. For what? For delivery from captivity? For freeing them from a prison, they would cling to God. Coming home for Shabbos, though they knew very well that the next day after nightfall they would return to the primitive villages surrounding the town. To truly understand what Shabbos is, it is insufficient to merely know the halachas of Shabbos. One should experience a Hasidic shtibel for Shal Shudas. Not far from where our family lived in Warsaw, there was a Mujitzer shtibel where I would occasionally go for Shal Shudas. The Hasidim would be singing B'nei Heichala Hashem Roi Lo Echsar. And then again, B'nei Heichala, again Hashem Roi. It occurred to me that they weren't singing because they wanted to sing. They were singing because they did not want Shabbos to leave. I remember an encounter in the shtibel as a small child. One of the men who had been singing most enthusiastically wearing a kapata consisting of more holes than material approached me and asked if I recognized him. I told him that I did not. And he introduced himself as Yankel the porter. Now, during the week, I knew Yankel the porter as someone very ordinary, wearing shabby clothing, walking around with a rope. I could not imagine that an individual of such regal bearing could be the same person. Yet, on Shabbos, he wore a kapata and a shtreimel. That is because his soul wasn't Yankel the porter, but Yankel the prince. Well, after nightfall, I naively asked him, when do we daven Ma'ariv? And he replied, do you miss the weekday so much that you cannot wait to daven Ma'ariv? This is an educational philosophical problem that has weighed heavily upon me. To contemporary Orthodox Jews, the Torah is revealed in intellectual categories, in cold thought and logic. However, it has not merited being revealed in a living sensory mode, which causes both trembling and gladdening of the heart. They recognize the Torah as an idea, but they do not encounter it as an unmediated reality that one can taste, see, and feel. I can explain Yom Kippur to my students from an intellectual standpoint. There is much I can transmit. What I cannot pass on are the experiences that I myself underwent on those days. The American Jew has no awareness of the sublime experience of the sanctity of Yom Kippur. I want to describe to them the time of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur that once existed in Europe, and I can't. I would have to bring them to the house where I was raised and show them how Reb Chaim said Vidoy in Yom Kippur. The Atat Tzaddik, gasping for breath. V'anachnu hirshanu, gasping for breath. In the synagogue, the echo of the Amen that followed the Shechrianu blessing after Kol Nidre. I cannot impart this. It has to be lived. Yoshua not only received the Torah from Moshe, but also how to live Yiddishkeit. His attendant, Yoshua ben Nun, a lad, would not depart from the tent, says the Torah in Shmos. Yoshua never left Moshe's side. He saw how Moshe davened mincha, how he ate, how he benched, how he accepted Shabbos, how he said Vidoy in Erev Yom Kippur. He therefore merited both Masoros, the Masorah of the mind and the Masorah of the heart. And although Elazar was a great Lamdan, only Yoshua could transmit Torah to the next generation. The Rav. Let's continue. In Parshas Pinchas. We all know that Parshas Pinchas, the parsha that's read most of the time during the year, every Rosh Chodesh we read from Parshas Pinchas. There are those who say sections from Parshas Pinchas every day, the Korban Tamid, part of Shachris. We read it every Yontif. So the Torah begins the Parshas HaTamid, the Karban, Vayidaber Hashem al Moshe Lemor, Tzavas b'nei Yisrael, V'amart alayim es Karban, Ilachmi, etc. This is my daily Karban. The Malbim says, also, fascinating thought here at the beginning of the Parshas HaKarbanos and the Parshas HaTamid. We begin here on line number 1, the Malbim. Tzavas b'nei Yisrael, Chazal Perish, Smichos Parshas HaTamid la'nemer l'mala. Chazal are concerned with why are we having Parshas HaTamid right after what was said before. Now, what was said just before? The appointment of Yoshua going in, being the leader of the Jewish people, because Moshe Rabbeinu was told also previously that he will not take the Jewish people into Eretz Yisrael. It says in the parsha right before Moshe asks Hashem to appoint a successor, the Torah says, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe aleil ha'avarim hazeh re'eyas aretz asher nasati l'bnei Yisrael." I want you to ascend the mountain, and you should see the land. And after you see the land, v'nesafta al amecha, you will be gathered into your people. You will die, and you will not go into the land of Eretz Yisrael. That is when, again, that Moshe asked for a successor, and that's when Yoshua is chosen. But what's the connection between that and with the Parshas HaTamid, which comes immediately after that? Says the Malbim, he says, based on Chazal, he says, Shahatamid hayabah levatel avodas hashemesh. The Korban Tamid came to counteract those that avodah zara, those that worshipped the sun. Shahayu mishtachavim va'ovdim es hashemesh pamayim bayom. They would bow down and worship the sun twice a day. B'zroach hashemesh, when the sun rose in the morning, ubein ha'arbayim b'shas be'es hashkia, and then in the afternoon, as the sun is setting, people would bow down to the sun. Avodas haboker hayapona lemizrach, the service in the morning they would face the east. V'avodas bein ha'arbayim hayapona lemara, and the service in the afternoon, those who were sun worshippers, and that's spelled S-U-N, pone lemara, they would face the west. Tziva Hashem lahakriv lefanav shnei atmidim. Kadosh Baruch Hu now says, you know what? I want Klal Yisrael to bring 2 karbanos every day, which are known as the Korban Tamid in the morning and the Korban Tamid of Bein Harbayim. V'tiyah shchitas Tamid shel Shachar, and the shchita of the Korban Tamid shel Shachar al keren tzfonis ma'aravis. Which corner of the Mizbeach will the shchita be? It will be on the northwestern corner in the morning. V'shel Bein Harbayim al keren tzfonis mizrachis, on the northeastern corner of the Mizbeach. Hafoch avodas Hashem. Just the opposite. Klal Yisrael put their backs to the sun at the shchita of the Korban Tamid. They're facing west in the morning, the northwest corner on the Mizbeach, and it's the northeast corner in the afternoon. Just the opposite. It's coming to counteract that those who worship the sun. V'yadua ma shekasav Chazal. And it is well known what Chazal have told us. Shem haya Moshe nichnas la'aretz, if Moshe Rabbeinu would enter the land, haya mevatel yitzra d'avodah zara. The Gemara tells us elsewhere, the Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin and in Yuma, that we all have a yetzer hara of avodah zara. We have a yetzer hara for arayos. The Gemara says that for a while they got rid of the yetzer hara for arayos, and there was such a lack of yetzer hara that there were no eggs that were laid by chickens. And they realized that for the world to continue, people need a yetzer hara for arayos, and it was put back. The yetzer hara for avodah zara was ultimately taken out, which is why today we don't have the yetzer hara to bow down to idols. We have many other enticements that the yetzer hara puts in front of us, but the yetzer hara for avodah zara in the way that avodah zara was done and was worshipped in the time of Tanakh, we don't really have. So the Gemara says that was done in the time of Ezra, later on, after the first Beis Hamikdash. But the Chazal tell us that if Moshe Rabbeinu would have gone into Eretz Yisrael and not pass away on Har Nevo before they entered, Moshe Rabbeinu would have taken away the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah. That being said, then there wouldn't be a necessity for the Karban Tamid. The Kavan Shabikesh Yivkar Hashem Mishal Ha'edah. Now that we know that Moshe Rabbeinu is not going into Eretz Yisrael, and that there's going to be a new leader who's going to take Klal Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael, V'nismana Yoshua Shahah, and Yoshua was appointed Shan Yono Lahanig Einehem b'Milchamos u'B'Tzarcheim v'Lo Yoba Kochel Avatal Yitzro v'Azara. He's going to lead them and fight their wars, etc. And he's not going to be Mavatal the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah. Omar Shayif Kodes Banav Shalo Yamiru Es Kvodu Belokai Nechar. Therefore, he wanted to make sure, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to make sure that we are going to counteract that Avodah Zarah that will be prevalent by others in Eretz Yisrael, the sun worshippers. And that is why the Parshas HaTamid was given just at this point. The Pasuk says later on in Sefer Dvarim that I'm going to bring them into the land of Israel and they're going to turn to other gods. Sha'amar sham hincha shochev mavasecha v'kamam ezev zanach ve'elohei nechar haaretz. Kim haya Moshe haya lo tzorech bali dekach. If Moshe would bring them in, then they wouldn't be worshiping other gods. There wouldn't be the Avodah Zarah. But the fact that Moshe Rabbeinu is not going in, that unfortunately is going to lead them, the Yetzer Hara of Avodah Zarah is still there, and they're going to end up being Ovdei Avodah Zarah, umishum kach shetziva hu miyad ludos tzbar parshas naso. And this concept of tzav, what it means, it's for now and full generations, I explained elsewhere. But that's the juxtaposition of putting Parshas HaTamid immediately after the appointment of Yoshua, because the Yetzer Hara for Avodah Zarah is still around. Moshe Rabbeinu is not taking them in, and therefore we need to counteract that Avodah Zarah, and therefore we need the Karban HaTamid, which comes just and the opposite to, as we said, counteract the Avodah Zarah. We'll finish up now with two beautiful ideas, similar but different. The end of the parsha, we have the Karbanos of Sukkos. And Karbanos of Sukkos, we know that they go down every day. On the 15th day, the first day of Sukkos, there are 13 Shlosha Elim. Parim b'nei Vachar Shlosha Asar. There are 13 bulls, Elim Shanayim, 2 rams, Kvasim b'nei Shnar Basa Tamimim, and there are 14 lambs. On the next day, Yom HaSheni, Parim b'nei Vachar Shnei Masar, there are 12 bulls, Elim Shanayim, Kvasim b'nei Shnar Basa Tamimim. Okay, and then 14 kvasim. On the third day, there are 11. So it starts off on the first day of Sukkot with 13, and then 12, and then 11. And on the fourth day, there are 10. And on the fifth day, there are 9. And on the sixth day, Shmini Hoshana Rabbah, there are 8. And on the seventh day, the sixth day is not Hoshana Rabbah. The seventh day is Hoshana Rabbah. So there will be 7. And on Shmini Atzeres, there's just 1. Now, if you look at all those psukim, mostly all those psukim are identical. There are certain very small differences. The Meshech Chochmah is going to point out a difference that he saw, and you have to be the Meshech Chochmah to see this and point this out. Meshech Chochmah writes, Lefale. It says it's very wondrous. It's very interesting. It's fascinating. The B'chol Yemei Achag, we're here on line 1. Ksiva, on all the days of Sukkot, it says Minchasam v'niskehem. Okay, Minchasam v'niskehem. That phrase is used on all the days of Sukkot, right? So, for example, in the second day, it says Vayom Hasheni Parim Bnei Bakar Shnei Masar. On the second day of Sukkot, there are 12 bulls, Elim Shnayim, 2 rams, Kvasim Bnei Shana Arba Satamimim, and 14 male lambs in their first year that are unblemished. Uminchasam v'niskehem, and their mincha, their meal offering, v'niskehem, and their libations, laparim leilim v'lakvasim v'misparim kamishpat, for the lambs and their proper numbers according to the law, etc., etc. So it says, on all the days, it says, Minchasam v'niskehem, levad, but there's an exception. What's the exception? On the 4th day, Pasuk Chaf Daled, it doesn't say Minchasam, it just says Minchasam, without the Vav. Okay? And Shmini Atzeres, the last day of Sukkot, which is Pasuk Lamed Zayin, it says Minchasam v'niskehem. So the phrase on all the other days is Minchasam v'niskehem. And on the 4th day, and on Shmini Atzeres, it just says Minchasam v'niskehem without the Vav in front of Minchasam. And the question is, why? Halo Doverhu. Torah is not just arbitrary. There has to be something here. Says the Meshech Chachma. Vulai tachin kach. Maybe it's as follows. The Besukah Perak Achol Daf Nun Hayam Beis. If you look in the Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Nun Hayam Beis, Amar Rabbi Lazar says, Hanei Shiva Parim Keneged Mi. This total of 70 bulls that are brought, as we said, 12, 11, 10, etc., add up to 70. What do these 70 bulls represent? Keneged Shivim Umos. They correspond to the 70 nations of the world. Perish Rashi, and look up the Rashi over there. What are we davening for them? Sheyerdu Geshamim Ba'artzam. We know that Sukkot is the Chag that we're judged on water, and we daven for rain, that the water should come down on Shmini Atzeres, on Sukkot, for the coming year, for the coming rainy season. And so we bring karbanos on behalf of the nations of the world, so it should rain in their countries as well. They should have rain. We, on their behalf, are davening for them, bringing karbanos on their behalf over Chag HaSukkos. That's what the Gemara says. Sheyerdu geshamim ba'artzam. Ayin sham, look there. Menachos reish perak elu menachos nikmatzos. And if you look in Gemara and Menachos on Daf Ayin Gimel Beis, come Rabbi Akiva, the akam eino maybe menachos and nechasim ifnei atzma. Rabbi Akiva tells us that a guy, a non-Jew, is allowed to bring a korban to the Beis HaMikdash, but he's not allowed to bring menachos unechasim. Okay? Can't bring karbanos that I can't bring a mincha or a wine libation. Rak olos humevi v'chol chavruseh hainu nesacham abasam hazevach can't perish Rashi Taman. He can't bring a korban mincha or the libations. He can bring a korban ola, and with the ola, if it comes, he can bring that with it, but not them in and of itself. Vim kain v'chol aparim sheb emes heim lechaper ala oved gelulam. On all the bulls that are coming, in fact, to be mechaper on avodah zarah, ha'oved gelulam eno mevi menachos v'nechasim rak b'shvil shiba ma'azevach. The non-Jew can't bring menachos and nesachim only if it was part of the korban. L'chein nichtav u'minchasam v'niskehem. That's why in all the other korbanos it says u'minchasam v'niskehem. Lahoros, to teach us, de'ein makom l'hamenachos v'nechasim rak b'shvil hazevach. Since a non-Jew cannot bring menachos and nechasim in and of itself. He can only bring it if it's part of something else, the other carbon. Therefore, that's why in the wording of the pasuk, which we're bringing karbanos on behalf of the non-Jews, that's why it says, umin chasam v'niskehem. Because we're doing it on their behalf, it says, umin chasam v'niskehem, and that we could do it on their behalf. Lahoros, to teach us, the ein makom lahamanachos u'nesachim rak b'shvil hazevach. Shebeglal hazevach maybe gam menachos u'nesachim. Lo came b'shmini atzeres, but this doesn't apply on shmini atzeres. Why? Says the Meshech Chachma, shar karban hu lechap al Yisrael. Shmini Atzeres, as you know, there's only one korban, and that's for Klal Yisrael. After we've taken care of the 70 for everybody else, there's one left. Just Klal Yisrael. Kashal I predaschem. I don't want you to leave. This is just for Klal Yisrael, Shmini Atzeres. So therefore, those korbanos have kapar and Klal Yisrael. It has nothing to do with the non-Jew. So therefore, it doesn't say umin chasam because it has nothing to do with the non-Jews. This is just Jews. We have to add the vav to say it's coming with the korban because it can't normally come without any, can't come by itself. So since we're bringing it, it's umin chasam with the vav. But Shmini Atzeres has nothing to do with the non-Jews. It's just us. So we say without the vav, min chasam min chasam v'niskehem. Without the vav. V'chein, and what about the fourth day? V'chein b'yom ha'revi, she'karbanu asara parim. What is the fourth day of Sukkot? Listen to the Meshech Chachma. That is, we bring 10 bulls. V'hu lahoros al eser umos shanas al HaKadosh Baruch L'Yisrael. Those 10 bulls come to correspond to the 10 nations that the Jewish people have taken over and conquered. The Shiva Amamin, the 7 nations that are in the land of Canaan, that Yoshua conquered, the 7 nations, and the 3 others that were promised to Avram Avinu back in Parshas Lech Lecha, in the future. So there are 10 nations that Klal Yisrael will conquer, and we will take over the land. And what does it say about these 10 nations? None of them are left. We have a mitzvah to completely eradicate them. And therefore, the fourth day, we have completely gotten rid of all these 10 nations, so we're not davening for rain for them. The fourth day is the middle. Where's the middle of the world? The middle of the world is Eretz Yisrael. But who's in Eretz Yisrael? Those 10 nations are no longer here. Who is there where those 10 nations lived previously? That's Eretz Yisrael. That's Klal Yisrael. Vim Kain, says the Meshech Chachma, then that's our carbon alone, has nothing to do with the non-Jews. We're bringing it on ourselves. We want it to rain in Eretz Yisrael. And this is where the 10 nations lived previously, but they're no longer here. You know what? That's why there's no vav, because it's only for Eretz Yisrael. It's only for Klal Yisrael. It's not because of the carbon that it's being brought. It's part that we're Klal Yisrael and we bring karbanos. When we bring karbanos, we bring menachos u'nesachim together. And it's not like the non-Jews who have to only bring it part of the carbon. They can't bring it on their own. And since the fourth day is representative of Eretz Yisrael, where these 10 nations were. Therefore, that is why there is no vav on Umin Chasam V'niskeim for day 4 and Shmini Atzeres. Magnificent, beautiful piece of the Meshech Chachma. And finally, in Parshas Pinchas for today, we're going to see a piece from the Vilna Gaon. Vilna Gaon also was bothered by a little anomaly in the counting of the 70 parim and the psukim of Chag HaSukkos. Similar, but different than the Meshech Chochmah said. So the Vilna Gaon writes as follows: Yesh lahavin. Madua bayom harishon hasheni v'harvi ksiv usir izim v'gomer v'ilo bayom hashlishi chamishi hashishi v'ashvi ksiv usir chatas achad. If you look on the days of Sukkot, you will see that on the first day of Sukkot, the Torah says, and this is in Pasuk Tes Zayin, useir izim echad chatas, and there's one male goat for a karban chatas. And on the second day, it says, Us'ir izim echad chatas. On the third day, it says, Us'ir chatas echad, without the word izim. And on the fourth day, it says, Us'ir izim, once again, the word izim. And on the fifth day, it says, Us'ir chatas echad, without the word izim, again, one he-goat. Okay, Yom HaShishi, Us'ir chatas echad, without the word izim. And Yom HaShvi, Us'ir chatas echad. Okay? That's what we are, so he's bothered by how come, again, on day 1, 2, and 4, it says Usir Izim, and on day 3, 5, 6, and 7, it says Usir Chatas Achad, below Ksiv Izim. Says the Vilna Gaon. V'yavu al pi ma'amar Zal, and it, based on the same Gemara we quoted earlier, in Sukkah, that the Meshech Chochmah quoted, Ki hashivim parim shel b'nei Yisrael makivim b'Sukkos and keneged shivim ha'omos. The 70 bulls that are brought on Chag HaSukkos represent the 70 nations of the world. The Isa b'Zohar, and the Zohar tells us, Zohar HaKdosha, Shekol hashivim umos klulim b'Yishmael v'Esav. The Zohar teaches us that Yishmael and Esav, which we will translate for the purpose of this idea as the Muslim world and the Christian world, that includes all the 70 nations. Yishmael and Esav are the generic terms for the nations of the world, where Yishmael refers to the Muslim world and Esav is referred to as the Christian world. So those are the two leaders of the 70 nations of the world. Asher mehen yonkim kol shar umos. All the rest of the world is sustained, if that's the correct word, from them. V'odisa b'Zohar HaKadosh b'shar sifrei mekubalim v'yishmael nikra Seir Izim. And in Sifrei Mekubalim and in the Zohar, Yishmael is referred to Seir Izim, a goat. But hu b'slichos l'yud zayin b'tammuz. And he says, if you look in the slichos that we're going to say, or we say this week, yud zayin tammuz, it says v'atzafir v'hasair, referring to Yishmael. The Esav nikra Seir, as the Torah Seir, as we know, to Moshe Nemer, Ish Seir. That's how the Torah refers to him. So Seir Izim refers to Yishmael, and Seir alone refers to Esav. That being said, says the Vilna Gaon here on line 11, Hashta lefi hakdamas hanal, based on this introduction, Mama od mechuvan lashon psukim. Now the psukim make great sense. Dinei hayatzrichim lahakiv shloshim v'chamesh parim b'shvil Yishmael. Well, if these 70 represent the entire world, and that means 35 are Esav and 35 are Yishmael. Okay? Shloshim v'chamesh parim b'shvil Yishmael, v'shloshim v'chamesh parim b'shvil Esav. So by Yom HaRishon, shekrivu shlosha asar parim. On the first day, we brought 13. Hikrivu b'tchila Hashem Yishmael. Yishmael is up first. Why? Shu ben Avram. Esav hayu ben Yitzchak. Yishmael is older. He's Avram's child. He goes first. Esav is Yitzchak. So the first day of Sukkot, we have 13 bulls. That is Yishmael. V'shuv b'yom hasheni. And on the second day, hikrivu yud beis avar Yishmael. Now we switch. It's 12 for Yishmael. So it's 13 and 12, that's 25. And now if we would do the 11 on the third day for Yishmael, then we'd be one above, too many. So now we give The 11 for Asa. Ubayom Ruvi, Hikrivu Asar Purim Bavu Yishmael. Now the 10 on the fourth day go to Yishmael. Kachshu B'Sachal Kol Lamed Parim Al Chelko V'Lamed Parim Al Chelko Shel Asa. And he says if you add it up, you'll see that it becomes 35 and 35. Sirizim is Yishmael, and Seir alone is Asa. Lefichach, that's why. Nemar Sirizim Bayom Arishon Sheni Revi Shem Keneged Yishmael. The 14, 15, the first day of Sukkot, we have 13, and then on the first day, Sheni v'Revi Shem Keneged Yishmael, HaNikra Sirizim, V'il B'Yom HaShlishi, HaChamishi, HaShishi, HaShvi, Shem Gam Kein Lamed Hei Parim, also add up to 35. Keneged Esav Shenikra So'ir Levad, L'chein Ksiv B'hem Sir Chates Echad V'lo Nizkar Yizim. So why does it say Sirizim in some and just Seir alone? Because the Sirizim is Yishmael and the Seir alone is Esav, and you need to add it up to 35 plus 35, and it works out perfectly, Yishmael and Esav, and that's how you get to the Cheshbon for the 70 nations.